Well,
Okay.
thank you so much for doing this. I'm so excited to see you again. I was really excited to meet you finally after having Tom Petty on my wall for years.
Oh,
I love that
yeah.
print of him, going like this. So
I know that's from like the first night that he played in Los Angeles. They opened for Blondie.
that's wild.
It was a wild week. Tom Petty opened for Blondie and then Blondie opened for the Ramones.
Wow.
And then it's like somebody from every band is dead and all of the Ramones are dead. It's pretty sad.
Oh yeah, when Tom Petty died, I heard he had an accident. I was on my way back from the airport in Pittsburgh, and one of the local DJs in Pittsburgh was announcing that he had been hurt, but he wasn't dead. And I sobbed. I knew he was. Yeah, it was
Yeah, I think
very,
that
very sad.
they you know, wanted all the friends and family to be officially told first.
Yeah,
Now at the age of, the information superhighway, it's so bad. You know, people die and it's like their kids don't know yet because
I
someone else
know.
was, I don't know, man, that's
Yeah,
rough.
that's it. Shouldn't be that way. That's a horrible thing to happen. Um, so I would love to talk about your photography and your writing because I know you were saying that you're writing a memoir, Adventures of an Unchaperoned Teenage Girl,
Yes.
which is a really awesome title, and I can completely relate to that.
Well,
Uh,
I owe that to Robbie Robertson.
no way. Oh my gosh, I love him.
Yeah, so do I. So the Apple Scruffs who used to hang out in front of the Beatles building.
Yes.
Yeah, you see them in the movie Let It Be, that like they knew who they were. They knew them by name, and
Right.
all they did was sit there. I mean, the 70s were a complete age of innocence. And if
It
you
was
just
very
like
different.
it was very different. You just saw somebody in the wild, like at the grocery store. It was so exciting. I mean, I remember my sister had a Porsche, and we grew up in LA, so there
Right.
we are in Los Angeles in traffic, and she's got her little convertible Porsche, and another one pulls up next to us, and so it's like Porsche drivers all, it's a club, and she turns over to say nice car, and it's Paul Newman,
Oh my gosh. Oh my
like,
gosh. He's so
and he
memorable.
said nice car. His was black, hers was red.
Oh my goodness. I probably would have died right there.
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah, but I
amazing.
mean.
So tell me like how you got into photography and were you just like a music fan that went to go see bands and took a camera? Like what was your whole how did that all happen for you?
Well, I was the firstborn child, and so my parents had a camera because when you're the firstborn child, everything you do is brand new to parents. It's like, oh my God, she's got her finger up her nose, or she's pulling the dog's tail, or it's the first time she's on a merry-go-round. All of these things your parents document, and with each subsequent child, I think there are fewer and fewer photos.
Right, right.
But I was the firstborn, and so my parents had a camera and they took pictures of everything. And so I just like, well, I want to play with that too. And I did. And they had a movie camera, and I just liked it, and I became adept at it. And I thought I was better than them.
That's funny.
I thought I had, a vision.
Right. Well,
I
clearly
liked,
you did because look at all the things you photographed.
and I liked movies. I liked pictures. I mean, I grew up going to museums, and it was the golden age of television too, you know? Like everything was really new in the
Right.
60s. And so I watched, American Bandstand and Hullabaloo and all of that, and I looked at that, and what I first wanted to do was actually make movies, was be a camera operator for movies, a cinematographer.
Yeah.
And so, I took the little family Super 8 to concerts with me. But what got me into concert photography, and it all happened very quickly. And sort of as soon as I went to school in 1973, that school year that started in September. I went to see Elton John at the Hollywood Bowl, and nobody believed me that I went. And this is really unusual when you consider merch these days. When you were leaving the Hollywood Bowl in a car, there were people at the mouth of the exit handing out free t-shirts.
Oh, okay.
Free t-shirts, one for
Hey,
everybody
wow.
in the vehicle. And it was the image was Elton in a top hat. It was very Art Deco. The ink was red. It was just like the newspaper ad for the tour. And it was the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road had not yet been released.
Wow.
And he played Funeral for a Friend there, and it was mesmerizing, and nobody knew it. Oh, and he busted out all the costumes. He came out in a crocodile
Oh,
outfit. It was great. And I told people all about it, and it's like, oh, you could have found out from the newspaper. I just thought, oh, let's just take pictures.
right.
And so the next concert I went to was The Faces, and UFO and Rory Gallagher. No, it wasn't UFO. It was Rory Gallagher that opened for them. And I just had a Super 8 millimeter camera because that was the best camera we had in the house. And I took that and I had Super 8 movies of Rory Gallagher doing, like 2.5 minutes, which that was the length of the film, and like two rolls of The Faces. So probably 5 minutes of Rod
Mhm.
Stewart prancing around the edge of the stage with his white satin pants.
Oh, that's
And
right. 'Cause you talked about that at Get Hip, how you went back, went out to the tour buses and met Ron Wood.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, and I just
Ian.
like thrust this paper in front of him for an autograph, and because like I knew he would know that was what it was for. But I told them I shot movies.
Right.
And they were in town, they were in California for probably the rest of the week. And it was like, well, when do we get to see them? It's like, well, they'll be ready in a couple of days. How do I meet up with you? We stay at the Holiday Inn. These are our hotel
I know
names.
that's so.
But, in 1973, nobody thought anything. And also, I was
Good.
15, Sable Starr
Oh,
at the
you were
same
like
time.
totally a kid.
I know, but Sable Starr and I are the same age. And at the same
Oh,
time,
oh
she was
wow.
out there with Johnny Thunders and she was in magazines and
Yes, okay.
pictorials. And it's like, oh, I just want to take pictures. I don't want to be their girlfriend.
Yeah.
I read an interview actually with Chrissy Hind, very, very similar, because she went and met the Jeff Beck group when they played through
Wow.
Akron. And I remember this line in the interview. She goes, so there I am in a hotel room sitting on a bed with Jeff Beck and Ronnie Wood, and I want to talk about guitars. It never occurred to me to seduce them.
Yeah.
And, she was probably 15 or something at the time.
Wow.
And so I think that's what separates, people. It's like, what do you want out of this relationship?
Right. Right.
She was on her trajectory to becoming Chrissy Hind rock star. I
Wow.
was on my trajectory, to becoming a documentarian.
Yeah.
And Sable Starr
Wow.
wanted to date Johnny Thunder. So everybody got their wish. But that could only have happened in the 70s.
I agree because things are way different now with security and VIP
They
passes and yeah.
They did not have people back then. No gatekeepers, none at
Right,
all.
right. They sure do
And
now.
they sure do. And so anyway, that was the whole thing. It's like I just said, I shot this film. When do we get to see it? And then I found them because they told me they were
Right.
staying at the Holiday Inn. I knew when they were playing. So I just called around all the Holiday Inns asking for their fake name. We found them. We showed up. It's like, you want to see the movie?
And Ronnie Wood was like, "Oh, you're Teresa with an H."
That's right.
And you're like, "That's right, that's me."
Well, it's a really weird thing. And I actually tell lots of people, when like at Starbucks, they ask your name, Teresa with an H. So I went to Home Depot to get a Christmas tree once. What's your name? Teresa with an H. And so they spell my name with the H at the end. I've kept this little tag because I just think it's so funny. Because really the best is Ronnie Wood, like putting a capital H in where it belongs. And unlike the lazy girl at Home Depot, is like Teresa
Yeah.
H.
She took you literally. She took you literally. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm Teresa, like Howard,
So weird.
you know, Home Depot, Teresa Home Depot, whatever. It's like, no. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great story.
The best part about it is I love everything about you.
No, right? I'd have been
But
like,
oh, they
oh
stole my
my
heart.
gosh.
But I
I'd be
just
like,
wondered,
really?
like, did he write that to everybody?
Probably not.
Probably not. No, I don't know. But when I
And
met
who
Robbie
cares if he
Roberts,
did though, man?
I
Maybe he
know it
started with
happened.
you know what I mean? Maybe you were the first one.
But I felt like when I met Robbie Robertson, when I was being an apple scruff for the band, that he gave me this pep talk that he probably gave everybody. And he told me this story he probably told every interviewer. Like it was just so smooth.
Yeah. Well, he was
But I
smooth.
mean, he was
So.
pretty smooth.
Yeah.
But he actually said to me, he goes, I was an unchaperoned teenager because, back then nobody used the words free range. Like
Yeah.
the word chaperone was really in the consciousness because, the dating game. Do you remember the dating game?
I do. I do.
I
Did they have
realize now
chaperones?
they had chaperones because that was the
Oh.
part the announcer always says, and you win this vacation to Cancun for you and your chaperone. So the word
Oh,
chaperone was really in the consciousness then. And
gotcha.
my father used to explain to me, he was the youngest of four kids, and his parents paid him to chaperone his oldest sister when she went on dates.
Oh my goodness.
So she and her date would pay him money to go away
Right.
and meet them at some predestined place so they could all go arrive home together at the same
That's very
time.
funny.
So my little dad, 10-year-old dad
That's very
was
funny.
making money from the parents and from the
Right.
sister and the boyfriend.
Great story.
But yeah, he kept saying he was the chaperone.
Bobby
So
Robert.
that
Ooh,
word was really big in the 70s. I
yeah.
think if you're in my age group, you totally like, I get it. Now I call them free range people, you know. But
Very
Robbie
true.
Robertson definitely said, well, I was an unchaperoned teenager too. And
I was definitely an unchaperoned teenager.
yeah, like
It was a different time though, and I was a teenager like in the mid to late 80s, and my folks just were like, just call and let us know where you are. And I was like, okay.
I think that parents were really very trusting back then. It's like
It was
you come
different.
home at dinner time or when the
Yes.
street lights go on,
Mhm.
and if you're going to be late, just call.
Right, right. Now they can
And
track you on an app on your phone, which is really strange to me, but I guess that's a new world. So,
right, it's a surveillance. But every time I watch Fast Times at Ridgemont
oh
High,
my God, I
just
love that movie.
and Cameron Crowe and I are the same age. And
Oh yeah, do you know him?
I've met him a few times. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
really know him, but we're the same age. And I would read his byline in the Los Angeles Times in the calendar section. It
Yeah.
would say Cameron Crowe is 18, and I'm like, well, how come he gets to do it? How come he
Uh,
gets to go out and run around with rock stars? His mom must be really cool.
right,
And his mom is Frances McDormand.
right, right.
Who was also
That was a
our
great
age,
movie.
we're all the
Great
same age. But
movie.
no, I just to me it was like real envy for a while. And then I just thought, oh well, I can do that too. I'm a girl,
Right, right.
And I see the whole feminine masculine influence thing really differently than most people
Okay.
because I think a lot of women like rail against the patriarchy, and there is a lot to rail against. We have no rights anymore.
Mhm.
But as far as like having a career, and if you're DIY like we all were, it doesn't matter. If you get it done effectively, then
Right, right.
you did it. I mean, I started a magazine. I didn't have to be hired by Rolling Stone. It was like, what you don't want to do?
Got my own magazine.
I'll just do my own.
Yeah, and I mean that's so creative and so interesting, and I don't know. I think you're really interesting, and I'd love to if you could talk a little bit about so my listeners can and people can see and hear this later about the Joan Jett Billy Idol photo that I bought the print at Get Hip that you signed for me, and like if you could tell that story a little bit because that's a really good story.
That I felt like, what, I knew when it was happening that we were making history.
That's cool.
Fir- First of all, there's the audacity of the name Billy Idol.
I know but it worked for him.
It worked, but so like Billy Idol and Susie Sue, They were part of this group of kids that were referred to as the Bromley contingent because they were from the neighborhood in London, Bromley.
Interesting. Okay.
And they were really avid Sex Pistols fans. They were like the Apple Scruffs to the Sex Pistols, like I was the Apple Scruffs to the band. And they were photographed in all the magazines like Sounds and Enemy and Melody Maker. And there was this journalist named Carolyn Coon who coined the term Bromley contingent. And she wrote about them specifically, like about Sue and about Billy Idol. And my friend Pleasant Gaiman, who we did the fanzine lobotomy together, she was captivated by the name Billy Idol, and he was beautiful.
Yes.
He's still beautiful.
Yeah. He's not bad. He looks pretty good.
I know. He
Been through
looks,
a lot too.
yeah. And she was captivated by his name. And when we found out that he had a band and they made a record, she just tracked down how to find him and wrote him letters. And he
No
wrote
way.
back. He wrote back because, like, who the hell was anybody, you know?
Yeah.
And, we have a magazine. And she sent him t-shirts. He would send us buttons. Um, and then he started doing these interviews on a radio show, Rodney on the Rock, on
Right.
KROQ, before K Rock became a format, when KROQ was just an indie radio station in Pasadena. And so Pleasant and I had convinced Rodney, because we used to go to his disco, his teenage disco in the early 70s. We convinced him to, interview us about lobotomy. And we gave him ads, in our in our magazine.
So cool.
And then we would go and take pictures of when bands would come in to do interviews with him because, he's everyone's got a shred of vanity. And he would want us to publish pictures of him with whatever band came in, and we published them. And so he said, yeah, we're going to have an on-air interview with Billy Idol. And we were so there.
Yeah,
We
very
were so there, and he already knew who we were, Billy. And so when Rodney got through with his phone interview with Billy Idol, we just went in and picked up the extension, once he was off the air, and we would talk with him. And so we had phone calls with him, and he would call in frequently. Every time they had a new single, he would call up K Rock, and we would talk to him on the phone, and we knew he was coming. I had a really good friend who started working at Chrysalis. His name is Brendan Burke. He actually became Billy's manager, like way into the future.
wow.
Um, and was like, Brendan, you should market us some Generation X stuff because and he's like, I got you. I got you. Because back then, none of the record companies knew how to market the punk music. They didn't know how to reach out to punk kids.
Oh, that makes sense.
So when Billy Idol came to town, we knew he was coming. We planned all these activities for him. Like, we'll take him to Melrose. And then, Joan Jett lived across the street from me, and she was
I love
one of
her.
our best friends.
Oh my
And,
God.
and well, we're all the same age,
Yeah.
She was in a band, but you probably know her, after her glory, like one of the first all-girl bands, one of the first, you know, bands out of Los Angeles to hit that genre and make a mark.
Yeah.
Um,
I was aware of her like when I was about like 11 or 12 when I Love Rock and Roll came out, her remake. Like I knew who she was
oh,
then, but I didn't know. I at that time being that young in grade school, I didn't know about the Runaways till later.
oh yeah. I mean, the Runaways, I think, like Kim Fowley, who created the Runaways,
Yep.
was a real sleazebag.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I do not doubt any of the accusations about him. He would say things to me, and I would just say, "Shut up, you stupid old man," because
Oh,
that's how I am, you
yeah.
know. So, no one ever bothered me because I just talked back.
Right.
Always
Smart.
talked back. But so
Like
we
that.
knew Joan from the Runaways. We knew her before she was in the band because she used to go to Rodney's English Disco, and we all like Susie Quattro and that stuff. So we were just all friends from the teen scene. And the Runaways were kind of on the outs at that point. It was really like the last year of the Runaways. And she lived across the street from me, and we'd go hang out with her all the time because it was also across the street from the Licorice Pizza record store. So we'd go to Licorice Pizza, we'd go buy some records, and we'd go play them at Joan's house immediately. Immediately, like when we bought the Sex Pistols record, it was just like, I want to hear
You
this
really
now. Well,
liked
let's
them too,
let's
didn't you?
just drop in on Joan and play it.
I got it. I know that she really liked the Simpsons a lot.
Yeah. And so we were just having this little confab, like, so Joan, Billy Idol's here. Pleasant loves him, like loves him. She's in love with him. And we can we have a party here, like a really super private party? If necessary, we could get Kim Fowley to be our bouncer. I mean, just real schemy.
Yeah.
And it happened. We got convinced the whiskey to let us have that particular day, have a benefit for the magazine. We booked the Germs to play.
Wow.
And Pleasant had known them since, they all met like in 1975
Mhm.
at the Queen concert because they were just the three weirdos, and they kind of met each other there. And so we got the Germs to play, and we got Joan to have this party. We were already taking Billy around. Like, we'd gone to Disneyland with him. We went shopping on Melrose with him. And it's like, well, Joan Jett is throwing you a party. Oh, I really want to meet her, you know. So we had this party, and all of the Germs were at the party. All of our friends who contributed in any way, shape, or form to lobotomy were there, like Kid Congo Powers. My roommate was there with her baby sister. Um, and it was just a really small group of people. But except for like the three guys who were there who were gay, it was all girls. And so
Yeah.
when Billy was going around on all the talk shows recently, going, yes, and I went to this party with Joan Jett and 20 girls. That's absolutely
Because you
true.
said that you told that story to people, and people, how you said, well, sometimes people believe you, sometimes don't, but then he went and talked about it so many times. You were like, see, I told you.
I know it, and he posted a video of one of the talk show things that I copied, and I just like put everywhere. Like, see? I mean, it was just such vindication.
Yeah,
So we
totally.
had this party for Billy, and I was
Cool.
the only person with a camera, the only person allowed to have a camera,
Uh,
because we wanted to control the publicity. We
right.
learned this. We learned that from Kim Fowley. Joan learned that from Kim Fowley, and she was almost like the quarterback. It's like, oh, you got to do it this way. Oh, you got to do it that way.
Cool. That's cool. I still love her. Every time I see stuff by her, I'm just like, oh,
She opened Billy Idol's tour, and I went to see them in Los Angeles, which is like a hometown gig for both of them. Like, even
yeah.
though she lives in New York now, but she did not mince words about all the hate in the current White House.
I don't blame her.
And a lot of the rear projection she had for her songs, rainbow flags, all the symbols, love equals love. And so when she sings Everyday People, the Sly Stone song, she means every syllable of it.
Oh,
And that
absolutely.
that came across, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how that came about. I mean,
That's
we
great. That's
schemed, just the three of us girls schemed, with
so
with
happy
the
you knew how to scheme well.
yeah, no, Billy was just enjoying himself. I
He
mean, the
was
best
really cute.
the best thing was like he was in awe of everything.
Aw,
Like, he'd walk
cool.
in, it was like, only girls here. Is that bad? No. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So it was fantastic. I was just, just taking pictures. I didn't ask anyone to pose. I was just
Right.
flying the
Right.
wall taking pictures.
Well, it's a good shot, man. It's really
My
cool.
thank you. I mean, there are other things. I'm actually gonna print all of them. I
Oh,
gave them
okay.
all to Billy just the last time I saw him.
Oh,
And he blew one up really, really asked me to blow one up really, really, really big. And he gave it to Joan as a thank you for going
oh,
on tour with him. I,
that's
I think it's magnificent that this is 47 years later,
That's incredible.
and we're all still in touch with each other.
I love
They're
that too.
they're going on tour with each other. And it's like this, like that one picture, that 125th of a second,
Yeah.
it it's history.
Yeah.
I'm
And
kind of
I
beside
mean,
myself. Like I
and
can't
you
believe
did
it.
it. You
I
did
know I
that.
can't believe it.
So
Like, oh, I did
it's
that.
so cool. So
It's
cool.
like, I don't know, one of those sitcoms, maybe it was Cheers or something at the end. I did this. No, was that's um
I know what you're talking about though.
oh, it's the David Duchovny, Gillian Welch, the X-Files.
Oh, X-Files. Yes, yes.
I did that. I made that, whatever, at the end, that
Yeah.
production company. I made that. Yeah, so I see that and it's like, I made that.
Yeah,
And
for
just
sure.
just the other day, Chris Needs, who was the editor-in-chief of Zigzag, zine out of England, when he took over, it went from being sort of a general interest music magazine to being 100% punk magazine. And that magazine was like my entire inspiration for everything. And he's on Substack now, and I found him, and it was like, hey, Chris, and we reconnected. And then he published this picture of just Joan isolated from that shot in
Oh,
that big
wow.
fit picture you have.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he just wrote something like, little did I know, 45 years ago when Teresa's name came across my scrawl, that there was more to this picture that Joan gave me because she had just cut herself
Right.
out and submitted it to
That's
Zigzag.
wild. He didn't know that.
He didn't know there was a bigger picture like until now.
Photoshop that.
It's
Um,
the gift that keeps on giving.
it's really, really does. I just want to say that Joan Jett and Hart saved me from being a preppy. So,
Well, I was a preppy.
well, I was borderline preppy because I went to a kind of an upper middle class, stuck up kind of high school, whatever, junior high. And yeah, I was like, and then I saw her and Nancy and Ann Wilson. I was like, well, there's better
I
things
can
out
I can
there.
be badass. It's okay. No, a lot of my friends, a lot of my punk rock friends actually were all private school people.
Oh
People
yeah,
will like they rag on you for like, oh, Poshy's going punk. And it's like, tell that to Joe Strummer, because he too went to a private school.
yeah.
Stiv
Oh,
Bators went to private
I
school.
know Steve went to.
Tom Verlaine and Richard Hell went to the same private school
That's wild.
together. They ran away from it together,
That's
you know?
hilarious. That's a good
Yeah.
story.
I mean, it's just education.
Yeah.
It's not your choice. It's where your parents
Right.
sent
Well,
you.
true, true. I just saw online on Instagram that your friend Pleasant had a band, which I didn't know. So I just found that out. And she's getting ready to do some tours at the Punk Rock Museum in Las Vegas, which I went to last Christmas.
Yes, she is.
That is so cool.
She actually was in two bands. Or three. She had the Screaming Sirens,
Okay, that's the one I read about.
right, and the Ringling Sisters. So the
Oh, that's a great name.
Screaming Sirens had Rosie Flores in it. So they were like a bona fide legitimate band. And Rosie Flores on guitar, you can't get more legitimate than that.
That would be cool.
And then the Ringling Sisters was more of it was just a good bunch of good time girls, just very rockabilly and wild. And then she had this joke band called Honk If You're Horny with Dave Ketching, who most recently played with Eagles of Death Metal. And
Okay.
I don't so her Honk If You're Horny name was a twist on Tanya Tucker.
Okay.
Kanya F
Oh,
her. That I know you're on the radio, so we can't say that, but
well, we're
it
not on the
rhymes
radio
with
yet,
Tanya
but
Tucker.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. So can you tell me a little bit about I mean, I'm guessing I know a little bit just from our conversation, but what your adventures of an unchaperoned teenage girl is gonna be about? I know you're in the process of writing it still, right?
Right. Well,
Okay.
I'm gonna give a lot of origin story. The book covers the period from 1973, which is when I started driving and started being very meticulous about keeping a diary, through 1988, which is when I left California to move to New York. And I kept a very meticulous driving diary because I wanted my parents to see that I was responsible enough to have a car. And the diary started off with, like the day it was, drove to school 1.2 miles, gave Arthur a ride home 4 miles. He gave me 25 cents for gas, and gas was 37 cents a gallon. So it made me look really good. You know? And I started, like went to McDonald's, had, had uh, a hamburger and French fries, $1.75. I kept really scrupulous records of my spending. Like car needs oil change, ask dad for money. This is all in there. And I find out later, when he died in the 80s, that Andy Warhol kept a diary not unlike that. And my diary started getting really dishy when I started, you know, going to camp out in front of the recording studio where the band was recording with Bob Dylan, or, traveling to concerts in Los Angeles because I grew up 100 miles away. I started, went to see, I went to see Dr. Strangelove. Someone left a newspaper there. Bonnie Raitt's playing tomorrow. I'm coming back to see her. And it was her second album. And so I saw Dr. Strangelove for 99 cents. And so I have all these notes like that. And
Yeah.
it it's really useful to make a book. Also,
Yeah.
like the first time I met the guys in Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, the two besties in the band are the keyboard player and the drummer, Benmont and Stanley. And I would
Oh,
see
Stan,
them
yeah.
all the time at punk rock shows. And I refer to them as my punk rock friends. It's
That's
like,
wild that they
oh,
went
like,
there.
guys in the Heartbreakers? Like, I'm not classic rock chick. They're my punk rock friends. But
Yeah.
Stan Lynch plays on Rank and File record.
Yeah.
I mean, but I would always see them at rock shows. If it weren't for Stan Lynch, I wouldn't know who Cheap Trick was.
Oh,
You know?
no.
Yeah, Benmont told me like one of his first concerts was the MC5, and it's like, "Ew, you were my
Wow.
idol. And I always used to see him like at Lou Reed shows. So these
Oh,
guys are my punk rock friends.
I think I've been wow like 100 times already. So
Yeah. So
I'm like,
but I
what?
remember when I met them because I wrote in my journal, it's like, how come these guys don't sing? Because they both have like really great speaking voices. Like I could listen to either of them read the ingredients on a can of soup. They're like
I know
that
people
good.
like that. Yeah.
Well, and if you have Sirius radio, and I know you're on a different radio station, but there's the Tom Petty channel,
Yeah,
and
no.
and they both have radio shows. I mean, you should
I
listen to them
know.
because they play
I didn't
really
know
cool.
Stan has, you said Stan has one?
He does. He
Okay, that one I've
does.
not heard, but I'll have to look for it.
But yeah, it's like they have the best speaking voices. They tell the best stories.
Yeah. Do
And
you
if
still
you,
keep in touch with him and Beaumont?
yeah, yeah. In
Stan
fact,
Lynch is
I
like
had
completely not on the Instagram at all. Tell him I want to talk to him.
He's
I want to
so
talk to you.
he's not on the internet in any way, shape,
I
or
know.
form. I think his wife has an Instagram account,
Oh, okay.
but because I see her name every once in a while liking something. And it's like,
She probably wouldn't appreciate a message saying, I want to talk to your husband. Hi, I'd like to talk to your husband.
for my radio show,
Yeah, right. What's her first name?
Michelle.
I'm gonna look for her. We'll see what happens.
Her last name isn't Lynch.
Oh, it
She
isn't?
she's
Okay.
kept her name, like a good, like
I'll Google her. I'll Google her
a
and see,
good indie girl.
see what comes
Um,
up. You never know. Sometimes people respond.
You never know. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, they were my punk rock friends. It's just who else? Well, obviously, like Wayne Kramer was my punk rock friend, but he was like the godfather of punk.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, you
Um,
said at Hip that somebody said something about Stiv Bators, and you said that you used to do his royalties.
I do everybody's royalties.
I mean, what does that mean? Like you, how do
You
you, what does
audit
that
them.
even
No,
mean?
it's
What does that really
I
mean?
you audit them like a record label will. I would just audit their royalties statements and make sure they were
Getting what they should.
getting what they should. You
You
read
have
their.
like an immense amount of talent because that's like very different than like taking photographs and like writing and doing rock and roll
Well,
stuff. So.
Well, every one of my family's a lawyer, so
Oh, there you go.
I was forced to go to law school, which
Oh
was great
my God,
because no, you know how I had the parents who said, "Look, if you study this thing that we want you to study, which is a branch of our family tree business, then we'll support you to." And I'm not an idiot. That's 3 years I don't have to get a job. I'm in. I'll go to
really? Yeah,
school. I know how to
very
be a
interesting.
student. I know
Yeah,
how to do that.
right.
And yeah, so my mother's family, her father and her brother, they did private equity. You know, they did law for finance. I mean, they represented banks, and one of them was a banker. And so instead of, like doing leveraged buyouts and mergers and acquisitions and, being a robber baron, which is what I think private equity is, I chose a different, little vein in law for finance. And that would be, forensic auditing.
Very interesting. That's cool. Wow. So when do you think, if you know, when your book is going to be done, or when you're going to put it out or publish it or
Well, we're
distribute
aiming
it?
for next year for
Okay.
2026, which is 2 months away at the
Right.
time of our conversation. I still have lots of pictures to scan. I had a lot of interruptions in the momentum of working on the book this year because I moved and then I had a exhibit, and so I had to kind of drop what I was doing to produce that exhibit, and then, I had other things going. So,
Sure.
um, but I'm working on it now. That's what I plan on doing in the holidays. So,
Oh, well, I'm really excited. I really want to read it for
oh,
sure.
why, thank you.
Absolutely. I
I
do.
really want to share it with me.
I know. That's what you said to me at Get Hip too. Yeah, I was very enthusiastic to meet you. So thank you for being so gracious to me.
Oh, no, you're welcome. The thing that I realize that when I write it, well, let me just put this in context. I went to see the Paul McCartney photograph exhibit,
Oh yeah, I saw you posted about that.
and to me, the exhibit was much more about photography than it was about Paul McCartney.
Okay.
The way they curated it and the way they installed it. I mean, they had like the kind of camera, the same model camera that he had, you know, and they where they did not have the negatives to make new prints. They just scanned a contact sheet. And so
Oh wow.
all of a sudden, Paul McCartney is giving every photographer this license to just be feral, you know, just photograph your friends. I mean, his friends just happen to be his band, but you photograph your family, you know, and his subjects just happen to be famous, but he's got pictures that are out of focus, but the moment is fantastic. It's sort of like the germs. It's the picture that I took. It's in focus, but the lighting is bad. It's murky. It's because it was lit by a single bulb in a garage, but that's what the situation was. And all of a sudden, the Paul McCartney printing and exhibiting that same kind of photograph
Mhm.
elevates all of us, you know. And I just, I'm really verklempt about it. I mean, I just really have no words. It was amazing that he lived the same kind of life I did, like when he was just at the beginning of his rise. That, yeah, he had this camera and he wanted to take pictures of his friends to remember it, as if people back home wouldn't believe that, oh, you met Ronnie Spector, has pictures or it didn't happen, because that's what it looks like. And so when I writing the origin stories, I realized that the things that were important to me were the piano and my piano lessons and Booker T in the MGs, that was like the door that opened everything. I drive around with my dad. And then there's this whole girl dad thing because he grew up in Chicago. And my whole introduction to popular music was from the blues. And for some reason, my dad always knew about the Beatles. Like when they came on Ed Sullivan, he goes, "Look, you should watch this. You can stay up tonight and watch this." Like, how did he know? But I
Yeah.
guess, he was at the age where saw Frank Sinatra happen, you
Wow.
know, and every introduction I had to music kind of came from him. Like I started taking piano lessons because we were driving in the car and Green Onions comes on. I was like, what's that instrument? It's an organ. Well, can I learn how to play it? And his response is, we have a piano you don't play. Well, can I get lessons? Boom, there you go. And then I get this deeper insight into music. And I think that's why I wanted to know how things work and I wanted to remember things. And then, proving that I went to a concert. It's like I used to have the stolen movie camera from my parents, and then I had Polaroids and Instamatics, and they finally got me a real camera. And then I was like Paul McCartney out in the wild, taking pictures of everything and everybody.
You have
And
a really good sharp eye. I mean, you really, just really, some of the things you've captured are like, you can tell it's like a very interesting, poignant moment. It's just,
oh, well, thank
I
you.
have loved and loved and loved my Tom Petty print for years. Every time I walk by my hallway, I'm like, oh, so I mean,
Oh,
it
thank you.
makes me happy. So yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. So
Oh,
yeah,
well, there was something that I think works in your favor, like restrictions. I was reading, like Jennifer Finch from L7 posted this thing on her Substack where she was like paying homage to photographers. Like they only get to shoot the first three songs, and yet look at what they give you back in
that's true.
return.
Yeah.
And there's some guy made a comment on there like, "Oh, this is disingenuous," and but because she's a photographer too, and her photographs of hanging out. I mean, and we work in the same sort of playground, pictures of your friends, and they just happen to be in bands. And so she's got a lot of good backstage stuff, partying with people, and her candid pictures just happen to be, like Darby Crash and stuff like that, because that's just who your friends are, you know? And some rando on the internet said, oh, I find this really disingenuous. These days, no photographer should be limited. Besides, everyone in the audience, has a camera in their pocket. And I just got on my high horse and I said, restrictions make you better. Have you ever written a haiku or a sonnet?
Right.
Those are
Yeah.
strict poetry forms. You
Mhm.
want to know why Shakespeare is so good? Or the poet called known as Shakespeare, whether it was him or 10 people
Right.
writing as Shakespeare, it's because they had a specific formula under which to write and to make specific rhymes and specific cadence and for it to be good. So you had to be good. And so for people like me, a student who had a fixed income, like my allowance, you know, I could maybe only shoot one roll of film per band on a night with three bands. I had to either listen to the music seriously and try to predict what the money shots were when they played that song, or have seen a band so many times and studied them and really get into, just like really become one with the song and get
Mhm.
that moment. That was the restriction you're working under because I have 36 frames to get this right. There's no ghost. No, it's not a digital camera. You can't not erase that, take it again.
Right. Right.
And so I think a lot of those restrictions of the analog era give you discipline.
Right. Probably make you better because there's no
Mhm.
instant anything.
No, and that's the one thing I don't like about the arts and crafts of the digital era is that everything
Mhm.
is instant, so you don't have to hone your craft.
Right.
I mean, I'm all in favor of fake it till you make it, but I'm also in favor of, like discipline and study.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it's fun. I mean, I enjoy taking pictures of bands, but I'm just doing it for myself.
Oh,
And then I'll put it on my Facebook page, and then because I'm can't figure out the watermark thing very well, I just put to the bands. I'm like, if you borrow, just give me credit. That's all.
right, right.
It's fine. I'm not trying to make money off of it. I'm a fan. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
and a
different when
lot of
you're doing it
times
for real.
no, and I know that people who go to shows and take pictures with their phone, it's like because they want to show their friends, oh, look at this thing. I went to see the Waterboys in Los Angeles. And I went with a friend of mine whose husband plays the guitar. And every time they would play a different guitar, she'd take a picture of it. She goes, "Oh, my husband's just going to die when she sees how many guitars are on this stage." And so she wanted to show him,
Yeah,
not that he wouldn't believe her, but like, look at this guitar and look at this guitar, look
right,
at
right.
this guitar.
I understand that. I understand.
Yeah. So, everyone has a different reason for taking pictures.
So I guess like I just have a couple more questions, but I wanted to talk about real quick the Get Hips Punk Rock Day of the Dead Ghost Party, which apparently has been going on for years, and I just found out about it this year. Have you been? Do you go to all of them?
I do every time we do one. And it's the best space to have it.
It's a nice space,
And well, we didn't do them during COVID because nobody did
right?
anything during COVID. And we talked
Right.
about maybe doing it in the parking lot. And it's like, oh, it was cold. What if it rains? So, but yeah, I did it. The first time I did it there, Lou Reed conveniently died 2 days before.
Oh gosh.
And so we made it all about him because we were able to, to do that. That's why I made all those like zines with Lou,
Yeah.
just Lou Reed, because I had the digital files. And we just went to the copy shop and Lou Reed
Really
pictures.
interesting evening. I mean, not. I mean, obviously it's fun to see part of the Cynics, do their acoustic thing because I've been watching them since I was in my 20s. But I mean, just to have you go up and talk about what you did and like be so open. And then I asked a question. I'm like, ooh, right away. So, but yeah, it was really interesting. And I'm sure you could have talked way longer than you did with all the stuff you've done.
Oh, I would love to, do this going forward. I'm retired now, so I got nothing but time.
Oh, that's so awesome. I'm jealous. I'd
Well,
like to be retired.
I'm old and I've seen all the good bands.
You know what? I've heard that many times, and that is so true. I mean, I'm older, and I've seen some great bands, and I enjoyed all of it. So
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could have, I saw Led Zeppelin at the very end. I saw them in
never
1977.
saw them.
But well, because how old were you in 1977? Not old enough to go to a concert.
No, I didn't even know who they were. So I
Right.
was seven. So,
Yeah.
but
So
I
I
did see
saw,
Plant and Page in '95. I did see that.
right. Okay. Um, yeah. So I saw them in 1977, and Jimmy Page had these
That
white
must be
pants
wild.
with like Saturn on the butt, you know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So
But
cool. Do you know Pamela DeBar?
yes,
Okay.
peripherally, yeah,
You met her?
yeah.
Okay. I interviewed her a couple years ago in Nashville. She's lovely.
She is, and she teaches writing workshops.
I
So
saw that. I was going to do one, but I was broke. But she was messaging me like, I'll give you half off. And I was like, I can't, I don't have time. But if she comes back to my city, I would do it. So,
yeah, no, I mean, she's delightful. I mean, she was really one of the first pop culture memoirists.
yeah,
So I'm with the band.
yeah,
I
she's
mean, there
totally
would have
cool.
been no Almost Famous without her.
Oh, at 100%, I agree with that. So, for sure.
Not taking anything away from Cameron Crowe's story in there, but people's fascination with groupies just starts with Pamela DeBar.
So, it so does. She gets interesting weirdos online saying weird, horrible things to her, though, I will say.
I did a
People are just
podcast.
like keyboard warriors. It's awful.
They are, and I did a podcast called Groupies. It was a series produced by KCRW,
Oh, cool.
and it's all women run that series. Jessica Hopper, who is, like one of the premier female editors out there, that was
Okay.
that was her project. And while I personally don't believe that I want to be known as being the plus one or the arm candy of a man, I also think know what you want, you got it, good for you. Because
Right.
that's what like Sable and Lori wanted those guys. It's like, well, I wanted something different, but in the same breath, if I knew they were at a concert, taking pictures would be like shooting fish in a barrel.
Right.
Because if they were there, then there would be some rock star worth photographing on their
Right.
arm.
Yeah. Well, like you said,
So,
also, the 70s and 60s, 70s were very different times. So,
mhm.
for
I
sure.
know, and people just like, how could you participate in that thing? Isn't that rape? And it's like, granted, like legally, there is no consent when you're not an adult, but they wanted it. They knew what they were doing,
Yep. Yep.
and
And look what people have done from that. Like look what Pamela Barr has done, and obviously in a different vein, look at what you have done. So I mean, like all these people have been like creative and involved in music and bands and musicians, and it's kind of
Oh,
like made history. So really,
right. And I just think like the best, okay, like so I am like one end of the non-sex groupie and but Chrissy Hind, I just don't think we should forget that,
right?
she famously said, "Yes, I was in a hotel room with Jeff Beck and Ronnie Wood, and all I wanted to do was talk about guitars."
Yeah,
It's like I gotta give it up to her for that.
yeah, she's cool too. I love her.
Yeah.
Um, okay. And one last question for you. What advice would you give to young people that are looking to get into photography or writing? Like, do you have advice for them?
Yes.
Okay.
Just do it. Don't take no for an answer. Somebody tells you no, work around them. DIY is always the best way.
For sure.
I mean that's just it. I mean, hillbillies, way before punk rock, So all the way back to Appalachia. If somebody says no, nobody tells me no. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to
Right.
do it my way, you
Mhm.
know? Frank Sinatra is not the only person who owns I did it my way.
Absolutely. I think it's important as any modern woman to not listen to what other people tell you per se and follow your dream and your passion. And, if it doesn't work out the way you think it's going to work out or something else happens, well, at least you tried.
And you never know until you try.
Right. Right. I think I agree with that. So, well,
Yeah,
Teresa,
and yeah, I mean, and lastly, also, it's
yeah.
like a lot of people scoff at education. I've had a lot of formal education, and every moment of it has been really helpful to me.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
And
I believe in education as well.
yeah, and I think that just knowing how to read and communicate and you know, spit something back out in your way to synthesize all of this cumulative knowledge and information out in your own words so it resonates for your generation or your audience or your people
Mhm.
is really important. And the shortcut to it is getting an education,
Yeah. No, I
just
agree with that.
getting those skills.
And I mean, even when you're not in school, every day is an education, and you're constantly learning. So
Yeah,
sure. So, all right. Well, I'm super, super excited to hear about your book. So definitely keep in touch with me.
I will. And now that I have your email, I'll send you longer chapters than what you got to hear.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Thank
Yeah.
you. And once your book's ready to come out, let me know. We can talk again. We can do another
Okay.
thing for the radio, and maybe next year before Halloween. If you want to come to the studio, we could do that too. So
Oh, that would be fun.
yeah, I would
Then
love
we
that.
could wear witch hats in person and take pictures.
Yes, we'll take pictures for sure. I would be into that hardcore. So thank you so much for your time. I'll send you all the info you need, and
Okay.
I hope to see you soon.
Me too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye
All
bye.
righty. Bye.